Alright, today I got my first supplemental video on another repair video I made a while back on a 6R60, 6R80 transmission bulkhead connector sleeve that is prone to leaking transmission fluid on there. There's a TSB out for it, and I walked you guys right through it. And I tried hitting on the key points on there, but apparently a few guys that have done this repair are having trouble at certain key areas, certain steps of this repair. So what we're going to go over today is even more detail of those few problem-prone areas, so we can get through this and get through it once and get her fixed up. And here I'll show in the cluster how it looks, all the warning lights that come on when that bulkhead connector is not seated in there all the way, and therefore when you put the connector onto the bulkhead connector, you lock it in, that's not in all the way, so the pins don't make good contact, some of them or all of them, and you'll get this when you go turn the key to start it. Be a no crank situation, and then you'll start getting wrench and traction control warning lamps in the cluster, and that's how you know. Alright, so I'll take a measurement of the connector itself, how far out it sticks from the case, so we have a reference. And even if we cannot see it here, I'll mark it down in the description down below. I'll go from the case to the edge of the connector there, and it appears to be 16 millimeters. Alright, this bulkhead connector does not come like this anymore, where it's pre-built with all the seals on it. So we need to pick off the old seals, and then there's a new seal pack kit. Looks like this. You get 3 new O-rings in there, and you just change the O-rings out instead of changing the whole connector on here. It's not even available anymore. So we'll take the old ones off of here. It's pretty simple. You just pick them out of there. Get rid of them. And by the way, these reddish orange ones are the original factory seals. Now we have the bare bulkhead connector like this right here. So we're going to take this and spray the inside and outside with brake clean. Make sure you get like grime out of there. I can just feel the grit all over this thing. A little bit of effort and things like brand new. So we'll start putting the new seals on. We'll do these big O-rings first. Get this one on there. Get them in their grooves. Make sure they're not rolled or anything. There we go, much better. And the last one we got is this ribbed one here. It's got lines in it like that. That goes in the very tip here. Like so. And definitely make sure that one's not rolled. Nice and flat like that. And then make sure this goes into the transmission all the way with ease, so we get it fully seated in there. I put trans gel on the outside here. Like so, on the O-rings. Nice light coat on them, and it'll slip right in and make it easy for us to fully engage it in there. Now I know I mentioned this before in my other video, but I want to mention it again, the tips video here. These pins right here that are exposed inside of there now, when you pull a sleeve out, you may want to be tempted to get inside there and clean with a rag. But you need to watch it, because electrostatic discharge from your rag and all that can get in there and ruin the mechatronics assembly inside of there, especially the 09 and 10. I think 11 they stopped using it except in the Raptors, but especially 09 and 10. Also over here on these solenoids, these ends on it you see here, if those leads on there, you don't want to touch those either, because you can get electrostatic discharge onto them and ruin the module inside there also. So just be careful when you're anywhere near this stuff. Also, I want to show right here how far down this bulkhead sleeve connector goes before it finally hits the end stop. And there may be some false stops on there, so you want to make sure you get it fully down and connect it to the actual stop, which is this angle right here. This is a full fully connected bulkhead connector. Okay, so you're probably in here just to do the bulkhead connector. You want to maybe even reuse the fluid, or you want to save as much money as possible. So you don't want to buy a $60 new fluid filter. You only have 29,000 miles in the truck. Why change it out? Well, you'll notice this transmission fluid filter likes to fall out whenever you push it back in. It's really heavy, there's no bolts to hold it in, and it's saturated with oil right now. So the reason why is because this seal down here is nice and lubricated by the trans fluid. So if you are reusing your filter, your best bet to get it to stay up into the transmission is to lay it like this, okay? And then we're going to spray that seal all the way around with brake clean. And that way nothing gets into the filter itself. Dry it off with a nice clean rag, and you should be able to reuse that. Of course, you want to tip it. After you dry it off, you want to tip it and get as much fluid out as possible, so it's as light as possible. And it'll stay up in there while you put the pan up. And then, of course, your hole right here where the filter sticks in, you're going to want to let the transmission drain out as much as possible. Spray brake clean onto a rag, not onto the transmission, and wipe this out too, so it'll all kind of stick together and it'll stay together while you're putting the trans pan up. Now, the other thing that was brought to my attention was a lot of people were filling it, and later on they check it when it's full hot after a drive, and to be above the hash marks on here. What you have to realize, Mercon LV especially, is it expands a lot once it gets hot compared to other trans fluids. So you need to be at the bottom of this hash mark or a little bit below it, and then when you're done and it's full hot, you'll be well within the hash mark area on here and be safe. You need to really stick to that line on there or a little bit below, or else you will have an overfill condition once it's hot. Alright, so as you can see, there's a few things that have changed since my last video, and I wanted to update you guys and of course give you that supplemental information about pushing that bulkhead connector sleeve all the way in there, because truth be told, I have done it before where I get it all back together, I'm going to put it through the gears and the thing won't start, or it has other kinds of weird issues like that, where there's the traction control light and the wrench light on in the cluster, and after that you're dropping the pan, the fluid, and all the rest. It's a lot easier for me than it is for you, so I want to get this information out there. And if you take that measurement beforehand of that bulkhead sleeve, and then you make sure it has the same measurement when you're done before you ever put the pan back up, you'll know that connector is going to be fully seated in there and you'll have no problems. So hopefully this helps.